Thank you, Chairman, and thank you all for being here. General Milley, I want to thank you again for the phone call and the conversation we had yesterday. I greatly appreciate your time on that. As we stated in that conversation, I wanted to have something for the record, and so before I begin with the rest of my questions, I'd like to touch base on the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan with American troops. Will you commit to providing a complete after-action report on the withdrawal to Congress that provides accountability and transparency for the American people, for the closure of lives that were lost and the people left behind?
Absolutely, and the Secretary of Defense has directed that we do that, and that is done by the Joint Staff and CENTCOM as well, but also the Department of Defense is doing that. So I absolutely commit to that.
Thank you. Generally, as you know, the industrial base is going through some changes right now, and prior to the Russian invasion of the Ukraine sites, invasion of Ukraine, sites like McAllister's Army Ammunition Plant were planning on seeing a decrease in productivity. And since this invasion, there's obviously been a new emphasis on where we're moving. And can you speak to what we're seeing with plants like McAllister and the ammunition depots, what the plan is and the future looks like for the industrial era?
Yeah, thanks, Senator. The Defense Industrial Base, Secretary's had several different sessions to include the DepSecDef and others within the department to really go over the Defense Industrial Base in some detail. One of the big lessons coming out of Ukraine is the incredible consumption of conventional munitions in the conduct of what is really a limited regional war. So a great power war, if that were to ever happen, God forbid it does, the consumption rates would be incredible. So the Secretary tasked us to go back and review all of the various operational plans and the COCOMs to determine if our estimates are correct, because it's those estimates then feed into these budgets to buy the ammunition. That study is ongoing. We can tell you that, for example, 155 ammunition, which is in high demand in the Ukraine fight, we report out daily in a written report to the Secretary of Defense on all the various ammunition statuses that we have. I won't go over that in an open session, but in a closed session we can do that if you'd like. The bottom line is the Defense Industrial Base is critical to the defense of the United States, and our ability to produce and manufacture and produce the logistical capability, especially munitions, is fundamental. You mentioned McAllister. I had an opportunity to visit McAllister. That's an incredible facility with incredibly skilled workers that are highly motivated, and it is really a one-of type facility. It's an amazing place. Places like that exist elsewhere in the United States as well, and we need to pay great attention to that Defense Industrial Base if we're ever going to successfully compete and hopefully not actually have a war with a great power.
What's interesting is the relationship between the public and private service there at a lot of our industrial areas around the country, especially in McAllister, where we have the public sector working with the private sector and delivering missions on time. And so I think there's a great amount of pride there that I think the communities that have the ability and actually the desire to help are standing ready, and McAllister is no different.
That's great. The workers there are off the charts incredible. Skilled workers, highly motivated.
Focus on Fort Sill just a second. General Rainey had stated recently that the Army Futures Command will be reviewing their use of cross-functional teams. Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma, is currently home to 2 cross-functional teams. As the original architect of this system, while serving as Army Chief of Staff, can you speak to the usefulness of the future of these programs, sir?
Yeah, the Army Futures Command and the priorities that the Army laid out for modernization 6-7 years ago are still what they're working on. They've had the most successful modernization programs they've had in decades as a result of that Futures Command. Key to that was the cross-functional teams led by general officers in each case. Those cross-functional teams were designed intentionally to be temporary until those programs are brought online. For example, long-range precision Future Vertical Lift, the Next Generation Combat Vehicle. Those are programs that once they get brought online and brought into the force, those cross-functional teams will go away. But it's been a highly successful and innovative organizational concept. What General Rainey's talking about now is the next step, getting it to the next level, because those programs are well underway. So he's not talking about getting rid of those CFTs. He's talking about looking at the next set of CFTs. For example, all-domain sensing would be one. There's several of these others that they're looking at. They're not made any decisions yet. The Army hasn't, but Secretary of the Army will make those decisions in due time. But it's an excellent program. It's an excellent command, and they're really moving out very, very well in the modernization of the U.S. Army.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'll yield back.
Thank you, Senator Mullin. Senator King is recognized and will take over as I go vote. And the vote is on for those who have not yet voted.